Hey everybody, it is Kevin here, Marketing Director for Stamp Anything, and we are coloring another image from the Friendship is Magic October 2025 release. And today we have in front of us Applejack. And Applejack is a cute little My Little Pony with a cutie mark that is apples, and one of her traits is honesty. So I chose to stamp her out with a orange outline, and then I went ahead and went back in with a dark brown for her hat, her eye, and her hooves, and to outline her eyelash, nostril, and her cutie mark, just to make things a little different. And same as the other ponies, where I didn't really stamp anything out in black this time. So the first colors I'm going to be using are for her body, and for her body I'm using E33, YR24, YR21, and YR20. So these are going to be for her main body colors. So here we have the E33, which is the sand. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to shade in a little bit by her ear, up a little to the top and to the bottom, and a little bit on the inside here. I'm also going to add that right under her forelock. And if you haven't heard that term before, it is the correct term for a horse's mane that is at the front, that's on their forehead. And then, so I've just colored in the cheek right here. And I'm going to just do a little bit on the mouth right there. I'm going to go under her mane, which is kind of in a little ponytail here, because I just want that shadowed that way. And I'm going to go ahead and add that shadow area to her back leg and going into her hind end. I'm going to put it under her belly right here. Hey, girls. Sorry about that. That is, didn't mean to interrupt my video with some barking, but here it is. We've got reality here, so I do apologize. Obviously they heard somebody. So I put that shadow under the belly, and I'm just going under that back leg a bit. And then same here. So basically everything is just getting a shadow off to that right hand side. And again here, under the chest area here, I'm going to go ahead across the hoof a little bit. And up. And just taking a quick check. Yeah, and I think I'll just add a little bit of shadow right under her neck here. And, oh, do you know what? I forgot. Her mane kind of comes around here, so I want to kind of outline that as well. All right, so there we have the E33, so that sand color laid down into all her shadowed areas. So now we are going to build it out, and we're going to use our YR24, so this is pale sepia. So we're going to go ahead, and I'm going to just start to extend that color. And I'm going to keep it darker towards the back of the ear. Add a little here. And I'm going to follow the line of her mouth and go up behind her eye a little bit. Kind of going to go over where I'd already colored here. And I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit more down into here. And now I'm going to add a little bit into the front of her chest. And again, I apologize for my dog's barking, and they're kind of interrupting the video a bit, so I do apologize. Next time, I'll have to just kick them out. If they can't behave, you're going to have to go sit out in the hall. So here you can see I'm just kind of extending everything and going around. And here you can see them just kind of Just kind of adding a little bit more of that color into where I want it darker near the back. All right, so after that, I'm going to go to my YR21. So that is my cream. So YR21 is cream. And now I'm going to go to the front of this ear. And I'll just kind of run over what I did. And I'm going to put that cream right inside her inner ear. And I'm going to go over her muzzle. I need to bring that color back around, and I'm making sure that I do get in there and soften where I added that shadow first with our E33 and our YR24. And you can see I've left some white space there. So now I'm going to go under her neck here, and I'm going to go ahead and blend it around in this section. And I'm going to go ahead and soften again under her, where her mane falls and that little ponytail on a pony. It'll go in between these apples and around them. And again, always move your image to where it's most comfortable for you to color. So here, again, I'm just kind of making sure everything's nice and blended. Going in and filling in more of her legs. So I do think these are like some of the easiest images to color, just because there is a larger space and you just get to really work on your blending. And because there is that space, you really have the space to move your marker around to get that blend. So our next color up is our YR20. So this is it's just called Yellowish Shade. Again, I don't name the Copics. Wish I did sometimes. So our Yellowish Shade, that's our lightest. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to place this right here under the eye. And then I'm going to just kind of rock it out back and forth and then into the muzzle. And then up into the top of the head a bit. And then I'm going to hit that top of the ear up here, just into that little corner section that's like, sorry, right here. Under her neck, I'm going to go right into her chest here. Then under here in her belly area, just going to kind of blend that around the apples a bit. And bring that up. Then into this back leg. A little bit of blending in here. Don't want too much because I don't want these. So these legs that you see here are like her legs that are supposed to be further away. So I'm going to try and keep them a little bit darker. And then the legs that we see in front, which are this one and this one, I do want them to be a touch lighter. I think she's looking super duper cute. I'm happy with her so far. What I have noticed is I've colored outside the line, and if you know me, you know that drives me absolutely insane. So I'm using a color Splendor. It's an Hoo-Hoo one. It just happens to have a fine point on it. So if I notice somewhere that I kind of want like, oops, a little boo-boo colored into where I didn't want to, I'm going to erase it a bit. Which, no, Colorless Blender isn't an eraser, but hey, you use it how you want to use it. I'll use it how I want to use it. So yeah, I'm just seeing some spots. And two, is it going to matter necessarily? No. But especially because we're going to be coloring over these areas. Okay, so now for her hooves, we are going to be using our YR24. So most of the other ponies, we use the exact same colors. Just wanted to be a little different this time. So our YR24, I'm going to make this little backwards L shape, not going into touching the line. So I'm trying to stay inside those lines with that YR24. And then I'm going to use my YR20, again, that yellowish shade. And I'm going to really work to blend those in now. Just to soften that up. So you almost want to make your first line almost invisible. Then I'm just going to run back in there with a little YR21, so that cream. And I'm just going to add that just to the very back corner. And there we have her hoops all done. So now we're going to move on to her mane and tail. So I'm going to use my E33. So this is, E35. So this is our chamois color. So this is just going to be for the very deepest areas of her hair. So where I want it the very, very darkest. So I'm going to add just a little bit up here. And I'm going to use this kind of sparingly, as I don't want to add too much dark and I don't want it in everywhere. So I'm going to really try and keep it just to very specific areas where I think it might be some of the darkest. So there, you can see I've used it fairly sparingly. Haven't used it everywhere. Just wanted some areas to just read a little bit darker than others. And actually, I'm going to put some up by her hat here, but just under where her hat sits, just so that looks a little bit more shadowed as well. And we'll continue down this line right here. So there we go. We have our E35, and I'm just going to bring that up to the camera a little bit, just so you can see where I've got it a little bit better. Now, again, you don't have to put it in these exact spots. This is just the way I'm doing it. No one says you have to do it exactly like me. So now we're going to go in with our YR24. So it's the same color we used in our body. So that YR24 is that pale sepia. So we're going to use this, again, just kind of sparingly. I'm just going to extend out over what I colored just a little bit here and extend beyond. Again, I don't want to go overboard with this color because her tail is actually quite light. So there we go, YR24. And now from our YR24, we're going to be going in with our YR23. So this is our yellow ochre. So here, I'm just going to start, now I'm going to make it look like we do when we do our hair flicks. So I'm just starting in from those tips here a bit. Just kind of trying to get that color start to be built up in here and trying to follow the shape of her tail and where her mane is going. I'm going to have it come down as well. And again, in from her forelock area. And I might just put a little bit back in there at that curve. So now with my Y21, so this is Y21, not YR, so this is Y21, so this is our buttercup yellow. So now we're going to start to extend out. And I'm coloring right from the base of where I use that dark. Adding it in here. So basically we're just coming out from what we colored and I'm going out either direction. And you can see how her colors are starting to come a little bit more alive. So now we're using our Y11, so our Y11, our pale yellow. So this is going to be our connector. So this is where everything starts to meet up, and it also starts to brighten things up a little bit. So here we can go in. So now if I see any white space in the mane or the tail parts, this is where I want to go ahead. And here I'm just going to follow it around and go a little bit heavier now. And again, you can see I am kind of pushing a little harder just because I do want things to lighten up a little bit and blend, because I still want this to like very much read as a lighter color. And yeah, I'm really loving how these are all coming together. How cute. There we have, again, there goes my dog barking. Again, I apologize. I'm so sorry, people. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick just a random color for her little, well, do you know what? I know what I'm going to use. I'm going to use the darkest color that I'm going to use for our apple later on. So her little hair ties are going to be R27. So that's that cadmium red. So it's just a tiny spot. So we'll just go ahead and we'll put it in right here. And we'll put it in there. So just two tiny little hair ties. So after her mane and tail, I'm going to go ahead and color her hat. So her hat color is going to be E37, E34, and E31. Oh, as well as E33. So I apologize for that. So it's E37, E34, E33, and E31. So again, I'm going to start with my darkest color. So this is E37. This is just sepia. I'm going to decap both markers because we're getting into a darker tone, and you know me, I'm super paranoid about accidentally getting a drip in there somewhere. So I'm going to go ahead and color this part of the hat right over that line. And I'm going to color it right here. Add in that corner. I'm going to go ahead and follow it up on the outside of her ear line. So I don't want to color on the ear line itself. I want to make sure that I'm staying above it. And same with her forelock here. I don't want to cover up that orange line, so I'm trying not to hit it. I think I did a little bit, but that's okay. So this is something that you kind of learn with no line coloring, about where you color when you're coloring on lines that are similar or lighter color, which I did in my class a little bit ago for the Hexia class, which was a no line coloring class using the new Hexia stamp set. Okay, so now we're going to E34. So this is Oriental. So this is going to just come out over what we colored and extend. I'm going to bring it up here, and almost like you do with the hair. And it's just going to come across here. And now I'm not going to go around the tip of her ear this time. So you can see that E34. Next up, our E33, which is our sand again. So our sand is going to come up from the bottom here. And bring it around. Oh, and you can see I just went outside the line, so that's gonna drive me crazy. All right. So now we're going to go ahead, and this is our E3 ones. This is our brick beige. This is our lightest color. And then here I'm just going to kind of fill in the rest of our hat. And then use it to blend everything up. So just spinning that around over her ear. Again, just kind of rocking that marker back and forth to blend it all in here. Same right in here into the top of the hat. All right, I think that looks pretty good. I'm going to touch up where I just colored outside the line. Just right there and right here a little bit. Oh, I just noticed that I did it in the tail as well. Look at me, just can't color inside the lines today. Kevin? Who knows what I was thinking about when I was where did even this one come from? I don't even know where that came from. All right. So I'm gonna grab my E37 again because I want this line of her hat defined a little bit more at the top. So again, I'm just gonna go across slightly, and I'm trying to again stay outside that orange line. Just so I'm keeping that definition in there. This isn't no line coloring, but it's very close. Just we have the lines, they're just similar in color. All right, so now that once we've got her hat done, we're gonna do her eyes. Let's see how many colors we can squeeze in there today. So I'm gonna start with my G28, so that's our ocean green. Let's see if I can get that in there right where I want. Yep, starting right at the very bottom, super tight into that corner. Next, I'm going in with my G24, which is that willow. I'm going to go over that first color and bring it up just a little bit higher. Then my G21. So this is my lime. I don't know why they call it lime green. It doesn't look that lime to me, but bring it up a little bit more. Do I need to add this many colors in her eye? No, I don't. No, you don't. But do I want to? Sure I do. So YG01 is my last color. That's that green bise. And I'm just going to bring it down from the top and bring it right over. And then I've got a really cute blend of an eye color there. I think it's pretty adorable. I don't want to say I like to make things complicated, but if you know me, sometimes I think more is more when it's not always, I'll admit. So for her apples, which is her cutie mark, I'm going to be using R27, which is our cadmium red. Same as what we used in her tie. And I'm going to keep that red to the bottom corner of these apples. And I'm going to go to R24, which is our prawn. So our prawn is going to go right in here. Just extending it a little bit. I don't know. I think I like just if I can fit colors in there and if it makes it look somewhat more realistic or just a cool blend or color shift, I like it. It shows that you put in a lot of effort if you want to. Now, finally, this is our R22. So this is our light prawn. This is just finishing off our apple. A little cutie mark. And if you want, you can go in with your G94. I am just to add a little color to the leaf. Like I know it's stamped out in black and it just kind of filled in, but I'm just gonna add like a little touch in there, just so it kind of peeks out with that color. Just a tiny, tiny, tiny bit. And last Copic is our E13. So this is our light suntan color. And I just decided, you know what? I've decided she needs a little bit of freckles. So here, just the very, very, very tip of my marker. Just going to kiss the page, and she's got just a tiny little bit of freckles there. And next up, of course, I like to do those eye highlights again. So I'm going to go ahead and go in with my white Posca pen. If you want to use a white gel pen or anything else, obviously go ahead and feel free to do so. And I just like to bump up those little highlights, and I'm just going to keep them the same like they are for today. And there we have Applejack. So stinking cute. Absolutely adorable. Oh, I love this set. So Friendship is Magic. It is out this month, which is October 2025. It is our Friendship is Magic set, and it includes Applejack, Twilight Sparkle, Rainbow Dash, Pinkie Pie, and Spike. And I have loved coloring them, and I hope you enjoyed this video. If you do, try and give us a thumbs up, give us a like, comment. That's super helpful for us. Share, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and hit that notification bell so you do get notifications of when our videos go up or when we go live. It is super helpful. So thank you all again for joining me. It has been a pleasure coloring with you. So if you haven't heard it before, you're going to hear it now. But our new slogan: stamp it, color it, and love it. Thanks a lot, everybody, and have a wonderful day.